Well, hi everyone, Ron Valant here. Hope you're all doing well. I'm just going to do a little update as to what's been going on and also project into the future a little bit. But first of all, doesn't it live like we're living in a dystopian sci-fi zombie apocalypse movie? I mean, man, I never thought it'd quite be this way. I mean, I projected in my mind what things would be like, but it's taken a whole new level, isn't it? Well, as you know, I've really been on the forefront of educating people as to UNDRIP and the implications of that document. And I've really pushed hard behind the scenes to be able to get our MPs and senators awake as to what's been going on. I worked with some folks and we sent letters to all the different MPs and senators in Canada outlining the very serious issues with this document in regards with Bill C-15, in which they would have all Canadian law based on UNDRIP. Now, one of the key issues with UNDRIP is Article 26, which states that Aboriginals have the rights to all the lands, territories, and resources to which they have traditionally owned, occupied, or otherwise used. And this leaves a huge door open for everything to change in Canada. The other thing, too, is that UNDRIP itself doesn't even define what Aboriginal is. Another issue is Article 28, in which it states that compensation has to be made for all of the years of use of the said resources and lands. And Article 46 talks about how nothing can contravene the United Nations Charter, so we'll basically be under a United Nations Charter. And, the MPs and the senators didn't seem to quite get it as, they passed it in the House of Commons. Now, all the Liberals, NDPs, Bloc, they all voted for Bill C-15. One Green voted against it. The Conservatives, all of them voted against it, yet none of them we're stating the reason as being Article 26, 28, or 46. It has to do with prior informed consent. I butchered that, but anyhow, yeah. So I forget what article that is, 36 maybe. The other thing too is that no Conservative MP warned anyone. I didn't see anything on the social media or YouTube pages for Pierre Poilievre that people want to be the Prime Minister. I don't see it on Michelle Rempel's social media or YouTube page. There's no warning whatsoever. Blaine Calkins was silent as a mouse, as was Bob Zimmer, Todd Doherty, everyone. There's no Conservative voice whatsoever, period, even though we warned many of them. So this goes to say something. In fact, there is no MP that I know of who raised a voice on it. There was, if they did, it might have been the Green Party. The one member voted against it, and maybe that has to do with other issues. I'm not too sure, but nothing came of it, and no one was warned. So that's passed. We thought that hopefully the senators would block it like they did in 2019, but no, within a couple of weeks it passed as well. So, and it has received royal assent. So it's baked in the cake now. And all law has to be according to UNDRIP. So these MPs and whoever is going to be implementing this are going to start working on this. So this is a very, very serious issue. And this video is going to be released on Canada Day 2021. And while millions of Canadians are going to be celebrating Canada and its freedoms and everything else like that, they have no idea what's going on, how Canada is basically lost now. And with all the different bills coming up in the future or in process now, which we'll talk about right away, it's just unbelievable. Canada has fallen, and while I may be celebrating the freedoms that we once had in Canada, on Canada Day, I certainly won't be celebrating our future. And hence, this is why I'm wearing black in the mourning of our country. So, and the other thing too to note with the Conservatives is that just before the vote on C-15, and a really great defense that we would have is that an election call could have been made if the senators would have blocked it. Every MP voted in favor of suspending elections during the pandemic. The only one who didn't vote for that was Derek Sloan. So there you go. So controlled opposition, perhaps. Another thing that was very interesting is that this whole residential school issue popped up right around that time. And this actually will continue on in the future, and it's going to grow and expand, and it'll become a really big deal. It's going to go into the United States as well. And those of you who are Americans and you're watching this in Canada, know for sure that it's going on in your country too. Barack Obama was talking about it way back when. So it's all done behind the scenes. You don't know what's going on, and really this is a worldwide thing. Canada is the canary in the coal mine, and you need to start doing your own research in your own locales as to what's going on and start raising the alarm bells. So this will continue on with all of the residential school issue. It's going to combine with the report that was made back in 2018, I believe it is, talking about the missing and murdered Indigenous women. And in there they call it an imperialistic genocide. So whenever there's a genocide, you can expect the UN to pop in, right? So that's part of it, as well as a Truth and Reconciliation Commission like they had in South Africa. Now they've changed their constitution, and now the white farmers' land can be taken. So we can expect all of these things to happen in Canada now. I was shocked to see that the senators voted so quickly on this bill. And I'm going to post right now their names so you can see who these people are. And I want to have it as an official record on this channel. I did my best, folks. I mean, I really tried to get major media on this. As you know, I've done quite a bit with the YouTube channel, and then I got onto different interviews. Laura Lynn interviewed me, Odessa as well, and Right Media. But I really tried to get on the Rebel. David Menzies was willing to interview me, but apparently it was decided that they wanted to have an MP, to be interviewed, which they don't have the information that I have anyhow, but that's how they wanted to roll. And now when I see all of the stuff that they're doing, I like what they're doing, but I say, man, they missed the biggest story in Canada besides, all of the injections. And like everything is like moot points, compared to that Bill C-15. That was absolutely monstrous, huge. And I really wanted to see Derek Sloan go ahead and announce it, or Maxime Bernier, but no one, it's just, it flies over people's heads perhaps, or they don't see it the same way I do, I guess, when I look into the document. But anyhow, it's done. It's toast, so. And now they're really pushing forward with Bill C-10, which is the Internet Censorship Bill. Luckily, with C-10 and also C-6, that the senators, they thought, oh, that's just too much. We got to look at that a little bit more, They're going to look at the censorship bill. Meanwhile, they just basically gave Canada away, which is good. They're looking at C-10. Okay, that's great. But there's also another bill you've probably heard about, Bill C-36, the hate laws, basically, in a sense. And those who go ahead and, voice opinions against people, and if they're triggered, they can now go ahead and anonymously get you for 20 grand of, paying for their hurt feelings, and then you have to pay 50 grand to the government of Canada so they can have more money to spend and blow, and they can even have it so that anonymously they can, if they think that you're a threat to them in any way because of your Facebook posts or whatever, they can actually get you put into jail for a year. So this is just like wild stuff. And really, I remember when I was learning about Germany and how Hitler rose to power in the social study classes that we had in high school, and how year after year they would make more draconian laws until all the power was consolidated and whatnot. And I thought to myself, why didn't those guys just leave Germany? Couldn't they see what was going on? And really right now in Canada, we're like in Germany 1937, it's getting that bad. And honestly, if a guy could, the thing to do is to leave Canada, really. But the problem is that this is UN Agenda 2030, all this stuff. This is worldwide. And you may look at another country, like I would think Mexico would be a good one, watching Jeff Berwick, and the Dollar Vigilante, talking about how good Mexico is. But I mean, the thing of it is other people would look at Canada and say we should go to Canada because Canada's the bastion, of freedom and everything else like that. But it takes a lot of energy and time to go and dig into what's really going on. I mean, just think of this. I mean, I'm one of the few voices in Canada, half dozen or whatever, who are talking about UNDRIP, on any kind of media. And how many people really know about that? You just wouldn't have a clue. So if you're going to go into a country, I mean, how do you even figure out what's going on? Like, I remember thinking about it way back in, what was it, February, March of 2020, where a guy could go, because of what's going down in Canada, and I could see everything popping in. And so what I did is I watched different countries that I was, considering, Panama, Costa Rica, these things. And then when you look at what their governments did and how they locked down their people, even worse than us, right? That tells me all I need to know that I don't want to go there. And so this is a very difficult prospect. And I think in Mexico what's going to happen is they'll probably get the drug cartels, will pay them to go ahead and deal with people, Whereas here we're going to have SWAT teams and that and RCMP and stuff, right? So, but anyhow, regardless, I mean, so many warning signs, if a person could go to another country that was free and thus is going to escape this Agenda 2030, now's the time to go. We got the summer break, things are easing up, and now would be the time. But man, I don't know. I think myself, I'm just going to be staying here and going down with a ship. I mean, as much as I never wanted to do that before, when I considered this whole thing way back, learning about Germany. But well, okay, let's talk a little bit about the future and project into what we think is going to happen here. At least I'm projecting what I think. Not too many people that I know nearby think like me. So anyhow, if the doctors are correct and the immunologists as well, who are warning and talking about how the mRNA and the various vaccines are going to cause cytokine storms in people when they come in contact with the real virus, many will get very sick and many will die. If that is actually going to happen, then I expect, this season, this winter season, flu season, that this will happen. And with that, I mean, so many medical people have taken the shot, right? And I expect a real crisis in the medical system, not like the ones that we saw, before where they were saying it was a real crisis and it wasn't. So that is going to be tremendous. And then the fact that people are really going to be dying here in mass, that is going to cause the governments to really start locking down. I think that's one of the reasons why they're letting it go right now. 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of thing, and giving us a reprieve. It's also a blessing that we can actually, at this point in time, prepare for what's coming. So I tell people to do that, make use of your summer and try and prepare as best you can for what's coming. And for myself, I mean, yes, the doctors and immunologists reports on all of this is one very good reason why I would, not want to go ahead and inject myself. The other, and this actually came long before, is that I saw that the UN wants every single person to be getting the jab, and not just one. It's going to be, a whole host of things down the road. And then you got the Gavi, a Bill Gates funded NGO that works with the UN or whatever, another front group, stating that vaccinations will play, and quote, a key role in achieving 14 of the 17 goals of UN Agenda 2030. And when you look at those different goals of that, the 17, you say, how in the world do vaccines play in? But when you factor in, the health pass, the digital health pass that they're going to be rolling out, the restriction of movement, a whole host of other things, then you can kind of see how this is going to play out. And then you're going to have the issue with people getting sick, and people are going to be saying this is, a new strain or whatever they're going to come up with. They'll be casting a weary eye to those who have not been vaccinated. Because right now everyone's cheering, in Alberta here, July 1st, you got Jason Kenney saying, congratulations, those of you who've been vaccinated, now we can go ahead and you can have your freedom back, from our tyranny. And the pressure is going to be on those who haven't stepped in, because they want everyone to have it. First, it was fear that they've used, forcing everyone into the cattle chute for the shot, and the continuation of the muzzle masks to project the whole issue of fear. And right now they're basically using lotteries and ice cream and everything else, just unbelievable, and consistent propaganda everywhere. Next, it'll be a stick of some sort. It's going to be that you're not going to be able to participate in society unless you go ahead and get that thing and get your little health pass, right? So what's going to happen is this is just going to continue on to fracture society. Expect the major restrictions and lockdowns on account of what's going to happen if the physicians are right talking about this. Supply chains, man, are they really messed up? I mean, you try and buy some things and you have to wait, 6 months or a year. So this is a huge thing. I see this actually as part of the whole plan, because they want to be able to shut everything down and meet their emissions, so-called, they're saying. But really the whole point is control. They're just using the emissions thing as an excuse. But supply chains, I expect them to continue on. I was in a bike store today and I talked about the supply chains to the salesman, and he expects it to get worse. And I said, it's all about Agenda 2030, and he just flew over his head. I tried to explain it, but he didn't want to know. And, they're projecting, Klaus Schwab is talking about the frightening scenario of cyber attacks. Well, yeah, that's what we're going to be in for here in the future. Even now it's happening. And, they just got a whole arsenal of stuff that they're going to be rolling out on us. Many feel that all of these things are, just planned to achieve the UN Agenda 2030. And it looks awfully suspicious, doesn't it? Okay, so now we're going to have, at the end of this year in November, they're going to have this climate summit. The Pope is going to make a special appearance, as if he didn't create it. But they're going to have this climate summit, and I see that climate change, is going to be the big thing being rolling. That's going to start gaining momentum at the beginning of 2021. And, just after the flu season, I expect that to be the real thing. They're going to be talking about how you thought that was bad with all those people dying and everything else like that. Well, climate change, man, that's just, it just pales in comparison to climate change. Like, this is the big one, and we've got to go and do some massive changes in order to avert disaster. And I do expect, possibly a tremendous natural event, where something big is going to happen that's going to absolutely scare the world and scare them into submission to all of their draconian lockdowns and things that they want to plan to do. So I expect the Pope to promote Sunday as a Sabbath or day of rest in order to save Mother Gaia Earth. So that's going to be a big deal too as well. Now, this global reset could happen anytime from now till, sometime in 2021. I think for sure 2021 is going to happen by that time, by the end of the year. But, I thought it happened even maybe now. But, in retrospect, thinking about it, they want everyone to get the inoculation, right? That's their big baby. That's the thing that they really want the most right now. And so I don't know if they're going to go and disturb that by having this huge, massive thing with that. So anyhow, big things are happening. I could go further into it, but that's enough for now. And best to you all as we navigate through all of this, and we'll have to see how things progress in Canada. Thankfully that there's a recess for all the MPs, so they don't have to go and make stupid laws, coming up right away. We have a little bit of a reprieve. So enjoy the summer and do what you can, and make your little communities and groups and friends, and we're going to have to support one another as we go through this time in the future. All right, okay, take care, bye.